Good. I don't, right? And so we'll start with some basic, obvious things. And these are things that I think you all know, which is that the world is changing all around us, right? Retail is going through its own private Armageddon right now. Healthcare is going through massive craziness. Soda companies have found that consumption of soda has fallen to a 30-year low. Tesla has a higher market cap than Ford Motor Company. Right? Here's one I love. Esports gamers get the same visa from the State Department as other athletes. How many of you think that playing a video game is a sport? See, well, it doesn't matter what you think. The State Department says you get a visa as an athlete, okay? The world is changing. And the reason that matters, and many of you run companies or work in companies, the reason that matters is because companies that don't respond to change get fracked. Okay? And I love this idea of fracking as a metaphor for what happens, that fundamental big disruption. I mean, if you think about it, if you live in Pennsylvania or Ohio and you're a farmer and your family has lived on that land for 100 years and you're a good farmer, but unbeknownst to you, somebody is breaking shale rock 1.5 miles underneath your farm and it's leaching all sorts of chemicals into the soil, and you wake up one day and you turn on your faucet and your water lights on fire and you have to move. You have been fracked, right? And so we see this with companies all the time, which is some of them are getting fracked a little bit, some of them are getting fracked a lot. My colleagues and I at Jump started to make what we called a fracked list, right? These are people over here. These guys are totally fracked, right? Kodak and Blockbuster and Circuit City. These are people who are getting fracked, Flextronics. General Mills, cereal consumption in the United States is declining 4% a year. For some sense of scale, cigarette consumption is only declining 3%. They're getting fracked. There's people who are fighting fracking. They're actually trying to do something to actually make a change in their futures. And then over here are the serious frackers, the people who are doing the fracking. Folks like Alibaba and Amazon and Apple and Facebook. We also have these folks over here. We put a little space in between. These are the people we call the little frackers, because people try to ignore them. Like, oh, Airbnb is a blip. You don't have to pay attention. Marriott has so many rooms. Yeah, you got to pay attention to the little frackers, though, because little frackers grow up to be big frackers. If you don't pay attention, you're going to get fracked. All right, but this isn't even the most important fracked list. None of this actually really matters. How many of you have kids, by the way? Show of hands. Okay, there is a much more important list of fracking, a scoreboard that I want you to pay attention to and keep in mind, and it's this list right here. This is our countdown, ladies and gentlemen. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the scoreboard that actually matters, okay? Everybody say 7. What's 7 on this list? Just shout it out. Correct. 7 billion people on planet Earth, soon to be 9 billion people. And the way we fit so many people on planet Earth is we give about everything to 1 billion people, and everybody else has to go pound sand. Everybody say 6. What's 6? Quieter. 1 in 6 people in America struggle with food insecurity. 1 in 6 people worry if they're going to go to bed hungry every night. Not in the Sudan, not in sub-Saharan Africa. In the United States of freaking America, 1 in 6 people go to bed hungry every night. Half of those people are children. Everybody say 5? What's 5? 5,000 out of every people, 5,000 out of every Americans, out of every million Americans are incarcerated. We keep in prison a higher percentage of our population than any developed country in the world, than any country in the world. We keep more people in prison than the Soviet Union did under Stalin. We keep more people incarcerated than any apex civilization in the history of man, and we do it through mandatory 3 strikes sentencing, crazy laws about tough on drugs, and politicians who want to show that they're strong even when they're scared. Everybody say 4. What's 4? Yeah, we thought 4 degrees was how much the planet was going to heat up by 2100. And then last year they told us that it was actually, their calculations were off, it's going to be 2050. And then about 2 months ago they said, no, we have actually about 12 years left. Everybody say 3. You know this one? 3? 3 to 1 is a ratio. 3 to 1 is the ratio of suicides to homicides on planet Earth. You take all the people yesterday who got killed, who were murdered or assassinated, and 3 times as many people took their own life yesterday. And when I mean homicides, I mean all the wars as well. So you take everybody who got shot in Syria, you take everybody who died in Yemen yesterday, 3 times as many of us decided to go gently into the night. And what does that tell you? It means that we have a crisis not just of safety or security or peace, ladies and gentlemen. We have a crisis of joy. We have a crisis of meaning on our hands. Everybody say two. What's two? Two is how many planets we need at the rate that we're using up our resources. And in about a year or two, I'm going to have to change that number to something else because that two is going to become three because China's coming online, baby. Everybody say one. What's one? One is, for most of us in this room, how many lives you believe that you have and how many chances you get. Not me, baby. I told you I'm Hindu. I'm coming back, bitches. But for the rest of you, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is your one shot to get it right. So what do you do so you don't get yourself fracked, and more importantly, so your kids aren't fracked? Well, here's what I know about this, which is that you don't have to have the right answer, but as leaders, and I know that you're all leaders, as leaders, you have to have everybody focused on the right questions.